Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad. These are the three movies that have been released and are out now in the DC Extended Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
Okay? So, Man of Steel, when I saw it in the movie theater, at first I loved it. Okay? And I was like, this is the best Superman movie I've seen. This is awesome. The just sheer amount of destruction was incredible. And, you know, they're really... How do you make a character that is so invincible relatable?
Yeah.
All right? And I think that they did a good job with that. And then it's one of those things where you just kind of sit on it for a while.
Yeah.
And I've tried to watch it a few times since and just can't make it through the whole thing again. The first time in the movie theater, I made it through and sung its praises, and then really haven't been able to watch the entire movie in one sitting since.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we fast forward, 2 years later? Then we finally get another movie in the DC universe. And we have Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, which should have been the greatest movie ever.
It should have been.
Right?
You've got the two biggest superheroes in all of DC's lineup.
Arguably the two biggest superheroes
in the world.
Yeah. Okay, because Marvel has a lot of very popular superheroes, but Superman is iconic as fuck, and Batman, I think, holds his own right up there with Superman.
Yeah. And
really, if it wasn't for Superman and Batman, would DC even have a universe at all?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So, you've got Batman v Superman, which... on all accounts, should have been the best fucking comic book movie ever, right?
Yeah.
But they let Zack Snyder direct it,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Now, here's a weird trivia. With the exception of Dawn of the Dead, I've seen every single Zack Snyder movie in the movie theater when it came out.
Nice.
Including Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, which is my favorite Zack Snyder movie, okay? And if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's awesome. It's CGI owls doing battle in the sky. It's great. It's fantastic. I took my niece to go see it.
That does sound.
Have you not
amazing.
seen it?
No, I've
Dude,
not seen that one.
it's fucking great. All right. I saw Watchmen in the movie theater. I saw 300 in the movie theater. I saw Sucker Punch, and that was just had some amazing visuals, but was a fucking bore fest for me.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my god. I don't even know what's going on in this movie. I really like the soundtrack. Oh, there's that Bjork song, and there's some cool stuff happening, but what the fuck is going on? I have no idea. There's Don Draper, and then the girl's dancing again, but wait, was it all a dream? I don't know. What the fuck is going on in Sucker Punch? And then Man of Steel in the movie theater. But then we've got Batman v Superman, which... I'm a big Batman fan. I love Batman. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but they didn't... That movie was just soulless and joyless and boring. And
and in the parts where it wasn't boring, it was confusing as all get out. Like the unnecessary dream sequences.
Oh
the
my
Flash
God, the dream sequences.
Appearing in a dream sequence to warn...
Lois is the key. And you know what? I've seen Thomas and Martha Wayne die so many times now. It's like, we don't need to see that again. And the whole my mom's name is Martha thing, that's so dumb. It's such a dumb resolution to their battle. Okay? And it's just, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, which is interesting as his character was, just to watch him on there, was not Lex Luthor.
No. It was like the Romero Joker, honestly.
Yeah, it was just so... I mean, I was like, fuck this movie. Seriously, after I got on Facebook, I'm like, fuck this movie. And my mom and dad are friends with me on Facebook, and I try not to cuss very much, and I was just like, fuck this. I was so disappointed. And in 2 years, it took them to make this movie, and that's what you have to show for it after 2 years. And everything is just so dark and dreary and just gloomy and just and everything's got that just washed out gray look in Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and even in the fucking Wonder Woman trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that same look, and I'm just like, ugh. At least it wasn't like that in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, very colorful movie.
In some scenes.
Yeah.
It was mostly shot in one night. I mean, that's the thing, is it all took place in pretty much one evening. Very contained film, the Suicide Squad. At least Suicide Squad didn't jump around so much. Mm-hmm. And in Batman v Superman, you're like, okay, now we're here, and now we're here, and now we're here. And then when did this happen? What happened to that thing? So Batman off-screen goes and gets the kryptonite?
Right.
Okay.
Off-screen. God, that is still
it shows
so
him trying to get it, and then he didn't get it, but then, off-screen, all of a sudden, I got that kryptonite, by the way.
It was way easier the second time. I think it was because there weren't any cameras around.
Yeah, and they missed out. Now, I'll say that Batman, like some of the scenes with Batman in Batman v Superman were good, as far as like the combat when he's breaking in to go save Martha Kent. But, it's not Batman. He kills people in this movie. Mm-hmm. He's a cold-blooded killer. And Superman killed Zod in the first movie, and I thought that was necessary, especially like the amount of grief that he showed over breaking Zod's neck at the end, because he's like screaming. He's like, oh. But it was just, I just think they're going about it all wrong.
Yeah. I feel like most people just in general do absolutely agree with you. Like that's somebody I think on Reddit coined the phrase the Zack Snyder murderverse.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, it's so accurate, though, and it's just kind of distressing how accurate it is. Because, I mean, the Punisher. The Punisher is probably one of the only superheroes, and again, he's not even a superhero, right, but he's, like, the only one that should be murdering his enemies, right?
Well,
one
Deadpool,
of the only ones.
Deadpool murders.
Yeah, again, mercenary.
Right. But, with Batman, and that's like his one rule, is I don't kill people.
And that has been his one rule for 75 years.
And he's branding criminals, and he's killing, just crashing his car into people, and it's just, wow. So, the next movie that's coming out is Wonder Woman, which has Chris Pine in it, who I loved in Star Trek Beyond, which we'll talk about later on in this podcast. How do you feel about a Wonder Woman movie?
I am digging everything that I've seen about it. We saw the trailer again before we saw Suicide Squad a couple days ago, and it looks like it's going to be good.
Right.
It looks like it's going to have a little bit of humor to it, which is what, Suicide Squad tried to do for the DCU.
And what the DCU really needs.
What it needs. Absolutely what it needs.
You've got to have some of that, like, levity to break up all this just sorrow that is filled the DCU.
The drab gray universe of Zack Snyder's DC cinematic universe,
I like that Wonder Woman's costume is the blue and red and yellow instead of what we get, just the brown in Batman v Superman. So I was really happy to see that they released the poster first.
Of Truth.
Yeah.
The lasso of truth is going to be in the Wonder Woman movie.
So here's the question. With all the, as far as like empowering women, and this is going to be the first female superhero movie, is the part where if Wonder Woman is bound, she loses her powers? Is that going to be a thing?
That is going to be, like, I'm really curious about that myself. Honestly, because, like, that was her only weakness for, like, the longest time.
You tie her up
if a dude ties her up, she loses all of her powers.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see if they do that. But apparently the guy who created Wonder Woman was a bit of a sadist. Well, of course he's a misogynist. But so we'll see how it goes. And it's going to be interesting to compare a Wonder Woman movie to a Captain Marvel movie. Because it's going to be Marvel's first female superhero in a movie. Now we do have Jessica Jones in the television universe, which does tie into it. And do you think that
Somewhat,
DC
but,
is... Well, I mean, it happens in the same universe, and they reference it in Daredevil and in Jessica Jones, and they reference things that happen, but it's on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the Marvel movies deal with stuff on a global, even galactic scale, whereas Jessica Jones and Daredevil is kind of condensed to a neighborhood.
They're micromanaging the shit out of a 3-block radius in New York City.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see how Captain Marvel ties into it, and it's going to be interesting to see how all these things tie in together. Now, my question is, we have shows like The Arrow. We have The Flash. Okay? Do you think DC is making a mistake by not including those into this cinematic universe, and Supergirl too, which I've heard great things about and haven't seen?
Yeah, I watched the first episode of Supergirl and wasn't impressed, but then I heard it got better, so I'm looking forward to season 2 at least. But I don't feel like it's a mistake what WB is doing with their CW DC Universe shows, because I feel like those all play off each other really well. Because
it's a universe in and of itself.
Exactly.
On that
they
channel,
have massive crossovers with all, and let's see, there's Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and now Supergirl.
But Gotham isn't tied in with that.
Gotham is entirely different. That's a Fox show.
Right.
And it's insane. That show is wonderfully insane.
You know, I watched the first season of Gotham and then about halfway through the second season of Gotham and was enjoying it, okay? As much as you can enjoy a network television show,
right?
In the days of Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and all that. Then Daredevil came out, and I binged watched Daredevil and was just like, "This is how it should be done," and couldn't really go back to Gotham after that.
Yeah, no, Gotham is so campy and it's so just batshit fucking crazy that it's enjoyable to watch, but it's an entirely different animal than Daredevil or Jessica Jones, which, you know, the shows that deal with like some fucked up shit, like especially the Jessica Jones series with the, you know, the mind control and just how that affects the psyche of a person being mind controlled.
And David Tennant was badass.
Yeah, he was. So I feel like that Marvel TV, aside from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of terrible. Like, it's it's the lost, kind of terrible that I love.
Yeah, and I've lost interest in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think I watched all but like the last 2 episodes of Agent Carter, which it's already canceled now.
Yeah.
Did it do a second season?
Yeah, they did a second season.
So maybe I'll catch up on it.
The second season is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I love the first season, but the second season is so bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Network television. When you have a company like Netflix who can get away with doing whatever they want, okay? So they don't have to answer to the TV PG rating or whatever. And then you get shows like Daredevil. You get The Punisher, which was great. And I've said for a long time, they should do a Punisher HBO series. Well, now we've got it on Netflix. Even better.
Exactly.
Even better.
Yeah.
So let's move along, and we're going to talk more about some other DC stuff, particularly The Killing Joke.